Today on the program, I have with me Professor Kader, who is from the Bar Ilan University in Tel Aviv. He is one of the top intelligence officials here in Israel, and we're going to be discussing some very important issues. Now, this is the 70th anniversary of the creation of the State of Israel. So this is a very significant period in Israel and for the whole world. Professor Kader, please talk to us. After 70 years of the creation of Israel, can you enlighten us about the geopolitical situation here? It still remains the heartbeat of the whole world.
Well, I think that if we talk about the miracle of the creation of the State of Israel, after all, we Jews came back to our forefathers' land after 2,000 years of exile, of persecutions, of Holocaust during the Second World War. We were like ash after the fire, but we came back under the flag of the Zionist organization, and only 3 years after the end of the Second World War, where 6 million Jews were exterminated, were burned, third of our people, we succeeded to come to the country and to re-establish our sovereignty, our state, in spite of the fact that 6 Arab countries sent their armies not to occupy part of the country, but to occupy the whole country and to send us to hell as they wanted. And we succeeded with a high price of 1% of the Jewish population, which was then in the 1948. We succeeded, in spite of all the odds, to remain, to survive, to create a state, democratic state, a high-tech state with army, with democracy, human rights, political freedoms, in spite of the wars which were imposed on us in 1948, 56, 1967, 73, and all the wars afterwards, because our neighbors have not yet accepted us as a nation, as a state, which has a right to exist. 70 years afterwards, we are a flourishing state in the top of the high-tech in the whole world, one of the few countries of the OECD, the advanced countries in the world, with democracy, with everything, while our neighbors are actually sinking into a swamp of blood, tears, and fire, as the Arab world looks like, and the victims in those countries are the Christians before any others, because the Jews have already ran away from most of these countries. Christians today are suffering the problems in Syria, in Iraq, and Sudan, of course, Egypt, and wherever you go in the Arab world, Christians are suffering. Only here in Israel, Christians are flourishing, the Christian minority here.
What's the major threat to Israel today?
Well, only Iran.
Iran.
Today. Iran and its tentacles, which are sent to this region, because actually Iran is a Shi'i country, wants to retrieve the Shi'i caliphate after Ali bin Abi Talib, the fourth caliph, who was the founder of the Shia, was ousted by the Sunnis 40 centuries ago. And they want to take the whole Arab world, and Israel is there also to be taken. How do you know it? They actually say it out loud in their own documents. This document is a page published by Hezbollah. And this is the picture of Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran. And here is quoted to say clearly and explicitly that we Iranians consider the Middle East, North Africa, Central Asia, the north of the Indian subcontinent, everything is our strategic depth. Just imagine that I say that Nigeria is Israel's strategic depth. Okay? This is some kind of, I have no other word to say, because this is outrageous. He considers all the Islamic world as his, yes, and this is the problem. Because they think that they are the mu'minun, as I say in Arabic, the believers, while the Sunnah and the Jews and Christians and all the other infidels should be subjugated to their hegemony.
Now, when you say Iran is a threat to Israel, can you explain what actions has this particular country taken to be a threat? Why are they a threat?
Well, they have the license today to develop nuclear weapons after the United States under Obama and in European countries and Russia and China actually gave them an agreement in 2015 which allows them to continue with their nuclear program with some kind of inspection of the world. And an agreement which will expire in 15 years means in 13 years from today, they can do whatever they like. What kind of agreement is this? Missiles.
What I want you to explain to us is this. I understand they want nuclear
weapons.
Yeah, but they haven't said so. They haven't said they want to use them for weapons. But what other actions can you point at that give you the feeling or the anticipation that they want to do something against Israel particularly? What are they doing around the world?
First of all, they say it out loud, that Israel should be exterminated. And this is something which is, again, is outrageous because Israel is a member of the UN. And according to the Charter of the UN, a state cannot threaten another state.
So they threaten Israel.
They threaten Israel per se. Means Israel should not exist, although the whole world accepted the existence of the state of Israel as a legitimate state.
Are they carrying out any other acts of aggression around the world?
Yes, definitely.
What
they
are
are
these?
sending terrorists to Yemen. They are sending weapons to Yemen, although they are not allowed to send any weapon to any country.
So they are involved in Yemen?
In Yemen.
Where
in
else
Iraq.
are they? In Iraq?
The insurgency in Iraq and many militias are sponsored by the Iranians inside Iraq, and those militias today are in the army.
So Iran is sponsoring militias in Iraq, and they're doing this in Yemen?
In Yemen, in Syria.
And then in Syria. They're involved in Syria?
In Syria, deeply they are involved, and they actually control some half of the space of Syria. Control means they are with the army, and they have army bases. Now they are willing to build air bases and naval bases also. They want, Israel objects it, and many other countries
now,
as well.
Lebanon is close
well.
to you. What's their connection with Hezbollah?
Well, Hezbollah is the end of the northern tentacle of the Iranian octopus, which goes through Iraq, Syria, into Lebanon. They control Lebanon through Hezbollah, through the party and the terror organization of Hezbollah, which so far is stronger than the Lebanese army. A militia is stronger than the state army, and they actually manipulate the country the way they want, the way they like.
You want some deterrence to Iran?
Well, allegedly, Israel has some kind of deterrence vis-a-vis Iran because there are all kinds of rumors about Israel's nuclear ability, which I have no idea whether it's correct or not. But there are rumors, and they are all over the internet, and they know how to read from right to left.
What would you want the world to think or do about Iran's situation?
Iran, first of all, should be coerced to give up on their nuclear military program, and there is much known about their military nuclear program. So far, the world has not been decisive enough in order to coerce them and to force them to give up. They don't need it. They have enough gas, they have enough oil. They don't need nuclear energy for military purposes. Civil purposes, it's okay. They have some nuclear facilities in order to produce electricity, no problem. These facilities are under inspection. No problem with this. The problem is the other kind of nuclear problem. And they do not cease to develop their bombs against us and against everybody else in the world.
I'm going to bring you back to the issue of Iran. But I'm thinking about something that a lot of people have referred to from time to time, because this area is like a boiling point for the whole world.
Yes.
And many have said, must Israel be, that is the state of Israel, must they be in the land of Israel?
Right.
Why don't we, the world, imagine the United Nations, declare this land as international territory and find another place for the Israelis, do you have any reason why Israel must be here? Must Israel be here?
Well, this country...
Would you be okay if a larger place, this is a very small territory, would you be okay if a larger place were given to Israel and you were all asked to relocate and then there'll be peace in the world?
Well, the same question could be asked if the British will agree to go to another part of the world.
They will say that they don't have any problems.
London,
they will say they don't have any problems. But
or the French will give up on Paris and France and go to other places. This is the same question.
do you have any reason why you want to be here?
Because we were born here as a nation. We were brought here by God from the slavery of Egypt. This land belongs to us.
Talk to our viewers. You just said something. You were brought here by God.
Of course.
Jesus
Christ, who was born Jewish and was killed as a Jewish, he was here on this land. So why should we go here? Why we should go to anywhere else? This is our forefathers' land.
What's your best evidence?
Archaeology. Everywhere where you dig in this country, you find Jewish remnants and Jewish artifacts which testify that we were here way before the Arabs came from the Arab Peninsula in the 7th century, and books of history which were written by Greeks, by Romans, not only by Jews, which maybe could be suspected as maybe not, but Romans talked about, look, the Romans had here for 200 years a whole legion, division, the 10th legion of the Roman army. They were stationed in Jerusalem. Why? Because they controlled Jerusalem. They destroyed the second temple in the year of 70 CE, and they sent us to exile to work in the Roman ships, rowing those ships. It means as slaves. Okay, after they crucified Jesus Christ. Okay, so this is the land which we were born in as a nation, the land which we lived for like 1,000 years, the first temple, the second temple. We were sent out to exile and we remained loyal to this country. We prayed to Jerusalem for 2,000 years. We kept reminding the destruction of the temple whenever we could, in happy occasions like weddings or in sad occasions like funerals. We always remained loyal to this country, and thank God we succeeded with the help of the nations to come back to our homeland after it was occupied by all kinds of nations which came and went back. Only the Jews remained loyal to this country. All the others came and went away. And this is why the world recognized our right to this land and voted time and again in favor of our return to other country. It started in the Balfour Declaration in 1917, which we celebrated only recently 100 years of this declaration of Balfour, who was then the Minister of Foreign Affairs in the British government. Then the decision of the General Assembly of the United Nations in 1947, 70 years ago exactly, about the division of this country between a Jewish state and an Arab state. Nobody then talked about a Palestinian state. And in a year we'll celebrate the 70 years. So the whole world accepted us as a state with legitimacy to the United Nations. If we did not have any legitimacy to be here, neither the British, nor the French, nor any other country would accept us as a legitimate country, and we were accepted. So this is why it is more than clear that the Jews, this is their place if they want to come back to their homeland.
I'm concerned about the statement you just made. I'll come back to it. But I want to ask you again on Iran.
Yeah.
Iran is not your immediate neighbor. Why will they have problems with you? What does Iran want?
For this, you understand.
Is it religious? Is it political? What does Iran want?
Well, it's all the above. The basis of the hatred to us is religious. Because according to Islam, Jews and Christians, by the way, should live under the auspice of Islam as 4th or 5th class citizens, as dhimmis.
So the Iranians want to carry that out?
Jews and Christians have no right to any country because the whole world should be under the Islamic rule. And this is what they believe. State by state, country by country, they plan to take the whole world, and they say it. They don't even try to hide it. This is one thing. Jews and Christians have no right to have armies, to impose their will on Muslims. This is against the rules of physics, according to the Islamic creed. Because al-Islam ya'lu wa la yu'la alayhi, as they claim, means Islam is superior and nothing can be above Islam.
So basically, it's a religious thing.
In the basis, look, there is a verse in the Quran which says, Inna din inda Islam, means the religion at Allah's is Islam. Means they don't accept the legitimacy and the validity of Judaism and Christianity, because both religions are null and void. Din batil, as they say in Arabic, while only Islam is din al-haq, means religion of truth. So how can those who have the religion of null and void, of falsehood, can have a state and impose their willing on others? And this actually shows why they fight on Jerusalem.
I want you to talk to our viewers one more very important thing that I just said is coming from your statement about the legitimacy of Israel because of the United Nations decisions. But you know, in recent times, the United Nations has passed several resolutions against Israel.
Right.
Would you accept whatever resolutions they make against Israel?
Well,
Because
it's not only the United Nations, it's also organizations which are affiliated, like UNESCO.
Yeah.
And the Human Rights Organization in Geneva.
Yeah.
These organizations are totally politicized. Some of them, UNESCO is even bought by Arab money after the United States withdrew its money from this organization.
Our viewers have to understand that this is very, very important because Israel is in a precarious situation right now, especially when you consider these resolutions that are against Israel. Almost all the time it's like 15-1 or 14-2 or something like that. Very few nations either refuse to pass the resolution, but most are against Israel. And the information around the world is basically anti-Israel.
Right.
So what do you want the world to know about what's going on in the United Nations?
Well, don't forget that there is the OIC, the Organization of Islamic Countries, which includes some 60 countries. 60 countries means more than a quarter of the United Nations. It's a big block.
More than
countries.
a quarter of the United Nations are
United
involved
Nations.
in the OIC.
Right. And this bloc, whenever it comes to Israel, is more or less united against Israel. Because they are all Islamic, and as you understand, Islam cannot accept the mere existence of the state of Israel, even if it was on a square centimeter on the beach of Tel Aviv. So, and in the world, other countries which are not Islamic countries,
So irrespective of the case, irrespective of the subject matter, they generally have a policy to vote against Israel.
Yes, first of all, don't forget that the oil, which many countries are buying or getting oil from Arab countries, do not want to aggravate the Arab and the Islamic countries like Iran because they are afraid of the supply of oil and gas. This is one thing. Second thing, many, at least some Islamic countries actually are buying politicians. It was more than clear. Qatar, for example, Qatar bought, first of all, the soccer games of 2020 in Qatar. It was revealed that Qatar bribed politicians in order to work according to its agenda. Qatar allocated $500 million in order to take Jerusalem out of Israel, to buy politicians, to sponsor organizations, to sponsor academicians, media people, in order to wage a whole campaign against Israel, in order to take Jerusalem out of Israel, and in order to make it an Islamic city or the capital of the Palestinian state. And as a result, the Palestinians, who are very, I would say, encouraged by this money, they produce this kind of scarves, and this is by the PLO. It says one side, it says Al-Quds Lana, Jerusalem is ours. Since when? Never mind. They claim that Jerusalem is this is by the PLO, not by Hamas even, not by the terrorist organization. And the other side, they show Palestine, the whole Palestine. So where is Israel?
In few words, can you say something about Jerusalem? Is Jerusalem for Israel totally, or should Jerusalem be divided?
Well, the Muslims actually invented the sanctity of Jerusalem in Islam as a kind of replacement for Mecca for 10 years between 682 CE and 691 or 2 CE because of a rebellion in Mecca. They diverted the Hajj to Jerusalem because of this rebellion in Mecca of a guy named Abdullah ibn Zubayr. As a result, in order to shed legitimacy on the fact that Jerusalem became now the place for pilgrimage, they invented all kinds of stories about Jerusalem in order to make Jerusalem holier than Mecca. This is the source of the holiness of Jerusalem in Islam. Means fake news, which the news production of the Umayyad dynasty in the 7th century produced in order to divert the Hajj to Jerusalem rather than to Mecca. This is the whole thing about Jerusalem. Everything else are lies on lies on lies on lies. And looks for the Shia, by the way, do not consider Jerusalem traditionally to be any holier than any other city, because Jerusalem was sanctified by the Sunnis, their enemies.
Oh, so the Shiite Muslims don't agree that Jerusalem is a holy place.
Right, but only since the Khomeini revolution in Iran in 1979, they started to talk about Jerusalem, because they want to show that they are no less anti-Zionist than the Sunnis. So it's all competition between who will be the better Muslim. So we have to give our capital in order to appease them. Look, Jerusalem was never a capital of any Arab or Islamic state, country. Never was there any king or emir or sultan or caliph, any kind of ruler in Islamic tradition. Nobody took Jerusalem as a capital for not even one day. Jerusalem was the capital only of the Jews and the Christians, the Crusaders when they were here, and the Byzantines. Only the beginning of the era, means since the 1st century until the 7th century, until the Muslims occupied it, it was the capital of this region. And then the Crusaders came for 200 years, and only that. Means Jerusalem was only a capital of Jews and Christians. And now they claim that it should be the capital of the Palestinian state, where the Christians are being chased out, as they happened in Bethlehem, as they happened in Beit Jala, and many Christian concentrations in the West Bank were forced to run away since Israel gave it to the Palestinian Authority.
Interesting. Now, the most remarkable and authentic evidence of Israel's claim to this land is the archaeological evidence that you cannot argue with, especially when you relate that to the Bible. You look at your Bible, you'll be amazed at the relationship. And these things are pure evidence of Israel's relationship with this very land. I almost like to say you have to be here. You have to be here to know this. Now, Professor Kader, we have a few more seconds. What would you want the world to know on this 70th anniversary of the State of Israel?
Well, I think it's time already that the world recognizes the right of the Jews to their capital and to move all the embassies to Jerusalem.
You want the embassies to move to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv?
Not that I want. They should have been there to begin with. Because when they, means our neighbors, see that the whole world supports the Jewish history and the Jewish ownership of Jerusalem, they will give us peace. Because they will understand that the war which they waged against us actually failed. And this is when we'll get peace. And this is why moving the embassies to Jerusalem is a tremendous contribution to peace. Because only then our neighbors will understand that they failed.
Is there anything you like to give to your neighbors to settle them off?
I would recognize Mecca and Medina as their holy places when they recognize my holy place in Jerusalem, which is shared by Jews and Christians.
And finally, you're okay with the Jews and the Palestinians living together in one state?
Look,
or two states?
Israel, 20% of the Israeli citizenship, of the Israeli citizens are Arabs, most of them are Muslims. We live together peacefully. And of course, there is another solution which I support, to establish emirates in the Arab cities of the West Bank. An emirate in Jenin, and Nablus, Kalkilia, Tulkarem, Jericho, Ramallah,
so you want to
and the Arab
suggest
part of
how they can govern themselves in a different way?
Because emirates is the only thing which works in the Arab world. States are falling apart, as we unfortunately see.